the game of the week, potentially game of the year, if it somehow lives up to its expectations, and maybe in the Alabama Georgia game right now for me is game of the year. But Ohio State Oregon is also a pretty good game. Even there are even better games on Saturday, I thought. So it's kind of crazy. Georgia goes to Austin, and they're catching 3.5 points. I don't remember the last time that they were, underdogs in a game. I really
Over
don't.
a field goal. Over
Yeah,
a field
and
goal.
it's over a field goal. Carson Beck, I think, is playing really good football right now. Not talked about right now. Not talked about. But here is also what's not talked about. I don't think Georgia's had a really great run game. I think their secondary has been super leaky. That's not a hot take. All right, just go back the last couple weeks. I think their cornerback situation they got going on there is maybe a little bit less ideal than they thought it was. I do think guys like KJ Bolden, Malachi Starks are playing good football, but not everyone in that secondary is playing good football. I don't know. I feel weird about this because I still don't believe that Texas has played like really strong competition. Oklahoma, I guess, is a talented team, but they're missing their entire wide receiver room. You had a true freshman quarterback. I, I just, I, I don't know what I want here. I think, I think I'm gonna take Texas, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I have to lay the hook too. It's brutal. 3.5.
Yeah.
I don't
Listen,
know.
I'll say this too. I actually think in a similar way I looked at the Alabama Georgia game. Like, not that there's blowout potential, but it would not surprise me if either team won by 10 plus points. And like, I don't know if I would drastically change my opinion on either team if that were to happen. I think if Georgia would win by 10, I think I would definitely knock Texas and maybe bump Georgia up just a little bit. Um, but yeah, like you said, this is going to be a massive game. I think a lot of points are going to be scored. Yes, Texas has the top scoring defense in the country, but the best quarterback they've played is the Colorado State kid, right? Like, I don't think that's crazy at all to say. And they just obviously just pounded teams, and they jumped on them, and they haven't really had a chance. Teams haven't really had a chance to compete with them. They have not tested adversity other than maybe in the first quarter against Oklahoma, and they responded incredibly, of course. But yeah, they've been the most impressive, dominant team all year. But this is a different level of athlete, a different level of team coaching staff that Georgia has right now. And also, I think Georgia's pissed. I think they are. I think Georgia, they have not been playing great football. I think they are big dogs. Big, like you said, for them. 3.5 is crazy. The only motivation that Kirby Smart needs to get them going. Night game in Austin. I think Georgia's gonna take this one personally. Give me Georgia. I did not think I'd be taking that, especially, last week or so, especially after Texas played against Oklahoma. I just think going back, I think Georgia's super talented. I think they can hold up against that defensive line for Texas. I think Carson Beck will play his best football. At this time last year, this is when McConkey and Bowers kind of got hurt, and Carson Beck started playing really, really good football. I think he continues to do that. He struggled in that first half against Alabama. A couple bad throws, someone slipped, right? It wasn't really necessarily all his fault. I think he gets after it. I think they get after this Texas team. I think that Devin Williams injury is really impactful for Texas in that secondary. I think Georgia, yes, they don't have elite playmakers, but they have speed, right, to get past Texas and then also create some kind of separation over the middle. They've been running the ball a little bit better. Now, last week did not concern me, but it wasn't, this elite running performance that they should have been at home against Mississippi State. But I don't know. For some reason, this just feels like a Georgia spot here. I think the SEC is so competitive. I think they can all beat each other up. We'll see what happens. Regardless, though, what happens, I think it'll be high scoring. And it's another kind of teaser for the counter here. But yeah, I like this Georgia team over Texas. I just
Also, what's the status on Isaiah Bond, by the way? I think he's going to play, but
it it sounded they said it's not as bad. I think it's day to day, which is huge because we've seen it against Georgia.
no,
Like, he's a good football player.
yeah, no, they need him for sure, but a not 100% Isaiah Bond kind of is a big deal because I like Matthew Golden. I don't like Silas Bolden. I like Gunnar Helm.
But like, you need a Ryan Williams. You need like a guy to be able to
Yeah, to
just
separate.
and just beat these Georgia corners. Like,
Now, Kelly Akari and Kevin Coleman kind of worked those Georgia corners. So maybe you don't need necessarily elite wide receivers to create separation against this Georgia secondary. But yeah, I mean, for your sake, I hope Kirby Smart is in his bag. And I just haven't been impressed with the secondary. Carson Beck, I think he's played really good football. I don't know. Texas just feels like a more complete team, and I'm not going to take a team that doesn't look complete right now.
here's what I will ask you though: running the football, right? Texas, I know that they ran the ball against Oklahoma at times.
Who's a great run defense, by the way.
Yes. They had a couple explosive runs, which was big time. Do we think they can? Obviously you think they're going to win, but do you think they can replicate that against Georgia? And does that concern you at all?
I don't think they can replicate that kind of rushing success. I'll hold out on that thought. I just
Like, to me, that's a big difference, because I
that
think
is a big difference.
if you're
Texas
just
is able to run the ball, if you tell me like, oh yeah, Texas ran for 150 yards, 170 yards, I'd be like, all right, I feel a lot better about that Texas pick.
and the same goes for Georgia too, if they can run the football with
Yeah.
their backs that they have, Frazier, Etienne,
Brandon Robinson.
Is he healthy?
I don't know. He had a touchdown last week.
Oh, good. Okay.
So
Real quick here, actually, last thing, I know a lot of this. Carson Beck or Quinn Ewers? Not for the NFL draft. I'm saying, like, who has the quarterback edge in this game?
I don't think there's one.
Whoa!
Yeah, I think
Listen, I think if you swap these two,
Quinn Ewers early last week did not impress me. It's kind of like how are they playing right now? Probably Carson Beck might be playing a little bit better football. I know Quinn Ewers just coming off an injury. He didn't really look great early in that game, but I'd say maybe if you made me pick, maybe I would go Carson Beck, but maybe that's silly. Maybe people are gonna hate on me for that, but
I just think it's whoever, like, one of them is going to play an elite game, or maybe both, and it's going to be this crazy shootout. But like, if one of them, yeah, to me, like, not that these teams are quarterback dependent, but like these elite college
kind of
football games,
are.
Dylan Gabriel, Will Howard, like
they kind of are.
Jalen Milroe, we've seen these elite football games when it's the talent level is pretty even. Like, those are the difference makers. Is your quarterback position, having elite quarterback playing elite.